Hello, everyone. Welcome, Silent Brief Podcast. One episode 223. NFL free agency is finally here, guys. Day one just tipped off here at 12 p.m. Eastern time. The early tampering period. A lot of signings taking place as we speak. Have already taken place. We'll go through all of those. Give you guys our feedback and some grades as to some of these signings. Plus, we got UFC 326 to talk about. Happened this Saturday. Controversial BMF title fight. We'll talk about that. And we'll sprinkle in a little bit of basketball, NBA. As you can see, my Heatles 5-game winning streak beat the brakes off the Pistons last night. And we got Mason, who also beat the brakes off someone this past Saturday. So, for that being said, guys, stay tuned. Jump right into NFL free agency day one. Lots of signings. We even had some big trades before free agency officially tipped off at 12 p.m. Eastern time today. I think the biggest trade, obviously, if you guys haven't heard already, Max Crosby heading to the Ravens for 2 firsts, this year's pick 14 and next year's 2027 first rounder. I'll start with you first, Lawrence. How would you grade this trade for the Ravens? And will Crosby get this team back on track, or do they still need a lot to do on the defensive side?
Like on back on track, I think it shows up the fact that you can get to the quarterback a little quicker. Outside of that, I still think we've been talking about it all the time on the show about how they don't have a secondary, and yeah, it'll help the secondary in the fact that you get no more than 5-6 seconds on a bad play before the entire D line is crumbling down on top of them. So yes, it does do better in that aspect. But I feel as if they're still missing the mark here about their corners and what they're about to roll into the season with. And we keep harping on it. We don't think it's going to work. They got gutted for their tight end that they were trying to keep on the swing of things. He's going to his old coach. So I still think they got way more moves to do.
Jacob, thoughts on the Crosby to the Ravens?
Yeah, similar to Lawrence. It's a lot to give up. I'd say winners here, probably Max Crosby, get out of Vegas. You know, they're obviously going through a rebuild, get the first overall pick, new regime, everything. I'd say a winner would be the Raiders, just for the 2 first-round picks. I mean, we all kind of an idea it was the trade, if it were to happen, would have 2 first-round picks. I don't think anybody kind of thought that they would get a first-round pick that's 14, because in theory, like if a good team that's picking the late 20s gave up 2 first-round picks, you're thinking, that's 28 and pick 30. Getting a pick at 14 this year, that's hopefully for the Raiders going to be an impact guy, someone that can help them kind of turn the table in Vegas. A big loser, Joe Burrow, because he's going to have a psychopath on each one of his division rivals coming after him. I hate this trade as a Bills fan. Happy for Crosby, but those damn Ravens just keep getting guys like that. But I really do think, I heard it on Get Up today. I think it might have been Dan Orlovsky that said, if you put the Linderbaum deal, which happened today with the Raiders, and I'm sure we'll talk about, if you put that deal, and it didn't happen technically, but if you add that into the trade, and it's like the Raiders got the best center in the league on a big money deal and 2 first-round picks, and the Ravens got Max Crosby, it looks pretty good for the Raiders in terms of getting an elite offensive lineman, which we've talked a ton about how much they need, getting 2 first-round picks, hopefully will both be impact players. I don't like it as a Bills fan. I don't like that, Crosby's on the Ravens, but I also do think that the Raiders fared pretty well, all things considered with Crosby and, that whole dilemma.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a win for the Ravens. As the Ravens, would I give up 2 first rounders knowing, what Lawrence said, that your secondary is still trash and your offensive line is still bad and you lost Lindenbaum? Yeah, I wouldn't do it. The Ravens have too many issues elsewhere to unfortunately be giving up 2 first-round picks, especially one at 14,
John Simpson,
which could be a game changer.
They added to the line 3-year, $30 million, $10 million a year to an lineman. It says he is a A guard. A guard. See? A guard. They do what you said.
Well,
They
they
also
need a
got Tyler
guard,
Huntley. I don't know how much that
but
applies, but I don't
they,
know how much he actually changes anything in that room. I don't know. I feel like kind of one thing that he's always kind of, I wouldn't say missed, but he hasn't ever had in terms of Lamar is like an older vet besides like a Josh Johnson, like in the locker room. He's always just had Tyler Huntley just chilling there, and I don't know. Am I ever scared of Tyler Huntley? Not really. Take my job.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this works out for the Ravens. I do think the defensive line is back to being at elite status at the most part. I think that's pretty much all for trade. Oh, I guess the Packers trade Franklin to the Colt, or yeah, Packers get Franklin, Colts get Wooden. Um, Basically a player swap, and then your Bills give Teron Johnson to the Raiders. Jacob, any thoughts on him leaving you guys?
It was decent work by the GM. We actually released him. We processed him as a release. The Raiders swooped in and said that they wanted him. So our seventh round pick is the fourth last pick in the draft, and the Raiders' sixth is the first pick of the sixth round. So I mean, we're moving up about 60 spots for a guy that we were about to release. So I'll take it. Taron Johnson's an amazing nickel corner. Very underrated player. Doesn't get a lot of love, but he was a really good Bill, and I wish him all the best out there in Vegas.
Sounds good. Minka Fitzpatrick gets sent to the Jets this morning. I think he was a cap casualty candidate, right? So the Jets swoop in and take him off of their hands. I actually wanted the Bengals to try to make a move. He would have been a perfect like safety three for us.
3-year deal.
They paid him too.
Yeah, they did pay him as well. Any thoughts here?
Well, okay. So my thoughts. I will give you my thoughts on the Jets' day overall, which I kind of like it. Unfortunately, like. Breece Hall got the franchise tag. He definitely doesn't want to be there. They got an edge rusher. They got another edge rusher. They got a D-line. They got a D-line. T'Vondre Sweat from the Titans. That's an old one. They got Aramate Onye. I'm trying my best here. His name's David, okay? His first name's David. 1 year, $10 million. They got Minka Fitzpatrick. They got Demario Davis. They gave him less money, but gave him technically more money guaranteed, 15, but less overall. That was definitely to try to help move things around because he's consistently injured for the Jets. Overall, I like the movement of talent to try to move. I would just say depth, I guess that's the best way to put it, to this team because I don't really know how many of these guys are really going to be shifting roster spot moves besides Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I mean, I like the trade. Jets just need to get better everywhere, and they can kind of maybe fast forward this rebuild, retool, whatever you want to call it, with all these the picks that they're getting. So, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think Demario Davis is the big one there. He's fallen off a little bit of the player he used to be in New Orleans, but he was a leader when they were good. He was a leader when they were bad. And I think getting a character guy on defense, anywhere, honestly, just a guy that has a good reputation as being a leader, will definitely go a long way in the Jets because they need about 15 of them, and they just got their first. So good signing for them. I think they've had an okay day, but I don't think any one of us are going to pick the Jets to win more than 5 games this coming year.
Yeah, you can definitely count on that. And the Cowboys trade for Rashawn Gary, who also, I believe, was a cap casualty cut, possibly. So, in my opinion, a little bit of overpay for the Cowboys, but hey, maybe they really wanted the guy. And I think there was definitely a market if Gary had hit the free agency. So, any thoughts on this?
He's okay.
Yeah, I think he's just one of those fill and plug guys. Going to have rotation on the defense.
Yeah.
That defense was so bad last year. I mean, just getting new guys is a positive thing. It's like, yeah, he's a guy that didn't play on this team last year, and that basically means he's better than – yeah, it means he's going to be better than anybody that did. So I mean, he's a name. He was a first-round pick. I think he had one good season. He kind of fell off
One
the
Pro
last
Bowl
two,
season.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's kind of a low-risk trade. Fourth is a little high. I agree, but who cares? Jerry don't care about that stuff. Jerry just wants to win.
I believe we're missing one, but DJ Moore is going to the Bills. Jacob, how do you feel about taking the former Bears standout receiver?
Yeah, this is a tricky one because when the notification came through from Shefty, immediately I was excited. Immediately I was happy. I mean, DJ Moore's a good receiver. And then it said, for a late pick or draft capital or something. And I was like, you know what? Like, we trade him for a fourth-round pick. I'm actually really happy. And then I was like, actually, he's getting paid a lot of money. We trade him for like a fifth, maybe a fifth and a seventh, maybe like a swap. I'd be so happy. Then I started thinking, you know what? Like, DJ Moore's a name. Like, maybe it's a third. If it's a third, I'll be happy. And then we just had to find out it was a second-round pick for DJ Moore. Like, I like the deal. I like the player. I think it was expensive. And honestly, the thing that bothered me wasn't that we got DJ Moore for a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick coming back to Buffalo, whatever, was the fact that Michael Pittman Jr. got traded today for like a pick swap. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I like DJ Moore and I like Michael Pittman Jr., but like, are we not going to, like, those two guys are relatively similar-ish in terms of production, and we had to trade a second for Moore, and Pittsburgh only traded like a swapped six for Pittman Jr., so that kind of, it threw me, off the rail a little bit, but I think DJ Moore is going to be good. His best season came with Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator in Carolina. Joe Brady now the head man in Buffalo, so hey, we're getting Josh weapons, and all of my complaining should be erased because we get them weapons, and that was the only thing that the Bills needed. Not the only thing, but the biggest thing the Bills needed to do was to get established ball catchers, and I'm excited to have DJ Moore. Lawrence, what do you think as a former fan of DJ Moore in Carolina?
I think the biggest thing that he gives to the Bills is, I would say, one, simplicity, and two, non-diva. He's gonna give Josh the weapon in which he needs. He's gonna get 1,000 yards. He got 1,000 yards with Caleb Williams on his rookie year. You're still learning all the ropes. And, the oversaturation this year with Luther Burden and Loveland coming along, and I can't think of his name right now. Dunze. He was in and out of the lineup, but he still is there. So, there's a lot of mouths to feed on that team. And DJ Moore, in Carolina, when it was all bad teams, pretty sure he got 1,000 yards receiving with Kyle Allen as his quarterback. So, You're telling me that this guy gets 1,000 yards season after season, doesn't bitch or complain. I mean, Caleb Williams literally threw him death balls after going across the middle multiple times. Still did not complain, and he's not going to get death balls from Josh Allen. And at times he might have to throw his body on the line so Josh Allen can run the ball 15 further more yards up the field, and he's probably going to do it, and he's not going to complain. So I think the overpay of getting a second-round pick was probably because he's not going to complain. He's just going to come in. He's going to be your mid to deep to intermediate to short threat. He literally do all 5, 4, 3 levels, whichever one you want to call it. He can do all of it. Then you got Shakir, who's just simply hands, to now go with DJ Moore to, I would say, spice up the offense. I think all you need really is someone to go purely Ted Ginn Jr. down the field, and then just see how much of a rocket arm this Wyoming boy has. And half your offense should be throw Nuke downfield, find DJ Moore across the middle because he's down there somewhere, and I don't want to scramble. Let me just dish it to Shakir to get the hit, not me. I think that's really all your game plan really needs to be.
Yeah, I like it. I like it for sure. A little bit of overpay, but hey, when you can grab a good player, hey, well, might as well just grab him, whatever the freight is. That's what I would say.
Yeah, a lot of the Buffalo media actually thinks that the media is the reason why the Bills had to overpay, because the media, the mafia, was so aggressive and like trade for a receiver, AJ Brown, trade Michael Pittman, trade Shaheed, anybody, just get us a wide receiver. That we personally think that when we called the Bears and they were like, "Hey, can we get DJ Moore?" They were like, no, first round pick. We were like, no. And then they basically bullied us into a second round pick because they knew how desperate we were to get one. But like we said, sometimes you have to overpay for talent. Sometimes you have to do it. So I hope it works out. But I like the person, I like the player, and yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Excited to see what happens next. Let's go team by team. We'll go over each team's free agency signings, starting with Arizona Cardinals. Of course, Kyler Murray, gone. He's out of there. Don't know what team is playing for next. Rumors are the Vikings, which would be a great fit. But for what they got to work with now, Tyler Algier, 2 years, $12 million basically. Roy Lopez, Kendrick Bourne, former Patriot right there. Minshew, who's going to be the backup to Jacoby Brissett, who is most likely going to be the starter. Jacob, thoughts here? Cardinals so far in free agency.
I like the Algier signing. James Conner is a good player. He's been banged up the last few years. Algier has the whole "I never fumble and I never will fumble ever" thing, and that's pretty cool. Kendrick Bourne, like you mentioned, that's a guy. Carter Minshew will bring the vibes and the jorts, and that's all I got. This is a pretty lackluster free agency for a team that doesn't have a whole lot, but it's the Cardinals. So regardless if they had a good day today or not, they'd still be last in the division next year.
Lawrence?
Okay, so I think I don't understand the Gardner Minshew one. Kind of curveball for me. I don't really see the need for his placement, but I said it before. Like they're going out and getting Kendrick Bourne. They obviously, wide receiver is fun. It could be nice for this team, but I think there's like an undersetting mood that might be shifting here. I don't think they're going to go quarterback at third overall. I bet you they take best player available because they could use it anywhere, or they take best line available because they need it. But honestly, it kind of gives me the sense that they're actually going to probably move for a quarterback that at least can, I would say, simply run an offense. And I think it's going to be the curveball because I think it's probably going to be like Mac Jones. Like we signed Kendrick Bourne. That's your dude. You obviously throw really good to him. They got a decent kicker in Ryland, so they believe that they're going to try to get down the field. And then Algier, he is a quarterback's best friend, and Connor came back on a lesser deal to have money to spend on a guy. But the Cardinals, if you look at it financially, they sit at 8th in the cap space. They haven't really spent hell of money yet. I feel like, Malik Willis just got 67? Was it 67? Yeah, he got 67 million. So Mac Jones,
Yeah, something like that.
3 years.
he's probably going to be in the market for 60 million, right, guys? Like someone's probably going to have to give him 50 because like that's a total. It's total overpay for Willis.
Well, he's
I mean, I'm talking
still
about moving
signed.
for him. Like that Mac Jones seems like that move. And then they're going to have to give him an extension. But whoever's going to give him that extension, if they got to move for him, is going to have to give him that money because Malik Willis just got that, and we know what he is. He was a backup. But I think there's a bigger undertone here. I think they're trying to move something. Because I don't know. I just don't believe that third overall pick is going to be used because it's just going to be the two quarterbacks snatched right at the beginning because the Jets are doing all this defensive free agency right now. So that way they can just do draft focus beginning kind of thing.
Man, I don't know. I'm interested to see what the Cardinals' grand scheme of what they got going on, but I definitely can see what you're putting down.
I think they get Ty Simpson. I think they trade back up into the first round with a team like the Bills or the Texans, and they draft Simpson like 28th because they can't take him third overall. He's not that good. So probably take best player available 3, and then see if you can trade up and grab Simpson late round 1.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Did his body at work at Alabama really justify that, or is it just combine hoopla?
I think they need a quarterback,
Fair
and he
deal.
is a quarterback.
We'll see. Falcons, we got Jahan Dotson leaving the Eagles, 2 years, $15 million. They signed a punter, Jake Bailey, 3 years, $9 million. Austin Hooper, I don't know what team he was on last year, but he gets signed. I think the big signing here, even if it is for the minimum, is Tua for 1 year, 1.3 million, who was just also released by the Dolphins today. I think this can't be official until Wednesday, but nonetheless, they got two lefties on the team. Will either one of them give Kyle Pitts the ball? We shall see, but we'll see about that. They also signed Olamide Zaccheaus, former commander. I forget what team he was on last year, but another slot guy, speedy, shifty, should be of help. Jacob, thoughts?
The Tua one's the big storyline. I'm sure we'll talk about that, as the weeks and months and stuff goes on. But I want to shout out to Nick Folk. I think he turns 87 next week, and he's still in the league. He gets himself a 2-year deal. Not sure how, but I'm pretty sure Nick Folk was kicking when I was like 9 years old, and a lot older than 9 years old now. So shout out to him. Still.
I mean, I thought Nick
The
Folk
old
was
man
going to
right
be
there,
signed with
Lawrence.
the Jets and just make his life easy. I mean, honestly, the Falcons know one thing is for sure, and that's like that. I think his name's like Ellis. He's probably gone. From there, someone's going to snatch him up. I know he's supposed to be a free agent this season. The linebacker position is probably going to be something we see moving probably towards. For the Falcons, it's just another year that they're going to have to put a lot of stock draft-wise into the linebacker/edge rushing position because they have that one player. Career's probably over. Now we got
he gone.
probably getting signed your best linebacker, and then you're signing right now Christian Harris. I mean, that's not swaying my boat that you're trying to really do something. Jahan Dotson, I personally think is a lateral slash maybe side shift to Mooney. And I'm not. Is it Mooney or Moody? But Mooney. There's so many games as a Panthers fan that I feel bad for when I watch the Falcons play. That Mooney just does the opposite of what he's supposed to, or just can't catch the ball. And I find simple pleasures in it, but I also feel bad for them too. And I feel like the one thing Jahan Dotson doesn't do is drop a whole lot of balls. So I think that going with London, obviously with Pitts, obviously with Hooper, Zaccheaus, I remember him having a few games that were good with the or for the Commanders. I don't remember him having a whole lot of games that were great with the Commanders. But I think we see the offensive picture. I think they're going to have a big problem on the defense, though. And that's my thing.
We shall see. We shall see. Ravens, pretty much the only big move is trading for Max Crosby a couple days ago, but they also signed John Simpson, who we kind of touched on a little bit earlier. Bills traded for more, kind of touched on that earlier. Kyle Allen, we got two Allens up in Buffalo, and then D. Alford. I'm not sure where he played previously, but
He was in Atlanta. He had an interception on Josh Allen in that one game that the Falcons beat us. Also want to shout out McGovern. I didn't think he was staying. On a pretty modest deal for top tier center. So needed a corner, needed a wide receiver, and got to keep some good O line. And Lawrence also mentioned that DJ Moore had 1,000 yards receiving with Kyle Allen as his quarterback. So I think he'll do better with Josh, but just in case, we got Kyle Allen there too.
hey, maybe he can replicate it if Josh Allen ever goes down. But he's an Iron Man. I don't see that happening. The Panthers, Lawrence, your Panthers signed Jalen Phillips, 4 years, 120. Also signed Kenny Pickett. Okay, 1 year, $7.5 million. Looks like we kind of touched on Andy Dalton a couple weeks ago. Looks like he is on his way out, probably via trade. Thoughts on your Panthers,
the Pickett,
Lawrence?
I don't understand it per se. Maybe because it's not a direct competition to Bryce because you kind of told Bryce you're going to lock in with him, but you haven't. Based on how they talk, like Canales and Dan Morgan, they talk as if Bryce is their guy and they're moving around with him, moving around for him. So it's not like Kenny Pickett is I would say, a direct um, competition to Bryce. I feel like he probably allows you to do more in, I would say, practice, like in terms of training camp. He can emulate different quarterbacks that Andy Dalton's probably not emulating. Let's face it, he's getting old. He's not running around and scrambling. And in those same scramble drills that you need to train your defense up for, you don't want little tiny Bryce Young running around doing those things. So I think it's probably a different element for them trying to move forward that they're going to try to utilize. But it is what it is. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But it does kind of mean that Andy Dalton is out of there, which means Andy Dalton's probably going to go mentor some other young guy, which is completely fair. Now we get on to the Jalen Phillips part, which if 4 years, 120 wasn't already like kind of adding up, I'm pretty sure they guaranteed him $81 million of it, which is another a big kicker.
Ooh.
And then I think we were like 24th in cap space in the league. So I mean, there's our big signing. There's our move. I mean, there was links that we were going to be involved with the Falcons linebacker Ellis, and honestly, I don't know why we kind of I would say skewed away from that, because I think he's pretty good. I think he's really involved with a lot of plays, and then they go down. Obviously, as an edge rusher in our desperate need, I feel like we overpaid for a Super Bowl winning edge rusher. In reality, who was a part of a really good cog overall. But if the first couple games he actually looks legit, then I'll just sit down.
Yeah, I mean, slight overpay, but like you've been saying, Lawrence, if you want the talent, sometimes you got to overpay for it. And hey, maybe he'll produce. You never know. Jacob, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Phillips is good. He's a good player. Free agency, especially when the salary cap, raises above 300 million. It's funny because I was talking about this earlier with a buddy. Like, NFL is so different than all the other sports because when free agency hits and it's baseball or it's basketball, like the big stars that are signing for so much money, like everybody knows. And football, because there's 53 guys and they're valued all differently based on position. I mean, I'm not saying Jalen Phillips is known throughout the league, but just today in general, there's a lot of guys that like a lot of people don't know getting life changing money.
Oh,
And
for sure.
120 million for a guy like Jalen Phillips, who is a good player, it's crazy. But like Lauren said, hope it all works out.
Hopefully, it all works out for you guys down in Carolina, Lawrence. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears signing Kobe Bryant from the Seahawks, Devin Bush as well. I think he's a former Brown, and defensive tackle Gallimore for 2 years, 12. So, pretty bargain contracts. I would think bargain contracts there. The Bears, they're kind of re-upped in defense. Defense wasn't trash last year, but definitely wasn't the best. But I think they led the league in takeaways. So I think it's just more about plugging the leaking holes because you got to be better than just getting takeaways. Jacob, thoughts?
Yeah, I would actually put the Bears in probably my top three for best days today because, like we said, the Bears defense they were the best at getting takeaways, but they were not good at stopping defenses on third down. They were not good at preventing yards. Devin Bush is a tackler. He's all around. I like Kobe Bryant as well. I think they did a good job kind of plugging the holes, basically doing exactly what the opposite of what the Cowboys should be doing in terms of, okay, we need help in the secondary. Let's get a safety. We need help at linebacker. All right, let's get a linebacker. We need help on the D line. Let's get a D tackle. Like they're basically just kind of plugging in where all their weaknesses is. Lawrence touched on it earlier with the DJ Moore stuff. Like they have a lot of weapons on offense with the Dunze and Swift and Loveland and everybody. They looked at Burton. Like they have a good foundation on offense. Defensively is where they struggled last year, and I really like that they're kind of addressing those shortcomings today.
Lawrence, any
I
thoughts on
think
the
it's kind of
Bears
like
so
you guys
far?
touched on it. Bush is a really good tackling machine, so it kind of feels like you guys said that hole. But I think the bigger one is the Bryant. You guys are talking about they need to get off the field on third down. He is coming from the defense that got off the field on third down, probably the best in the league. He can bring that sense of, I would say, pride and urgency to the Bears. I don't believe that it's an overpay. Like $40 million for above average safety. You would think there would be like I just won the Super Bowl tax added onto that, but I think that 40 is pretty fair. I think Bush 3 years 30. I mean, that's just $10 million. I mean, for a vet that still got it, nothing wrong with that. I think the Bears are doing a great job of staying within I would say, a salary budget to start. And I'm interested to see what they cook up. I think Keenum as a backup is probably the role he was, best in most of his career. You know that if Williams was ever go out, there's a guy that'll just sling it, and you got wide receivers that can easily catch slings. But I think Bradbury is I wouldn't say unsung part, but I mean it's a half decent offensive lineman, and we've been saying one thing about Caleb Williams is we want to see the maturity of his offensive game, of him not, I would say, going to a scramble run around first and sit back there and find that, 5-second, 3-step route, 5-step route. Something he doesn't really do a whole lot. One of the reasons his O-line hasn't been that good. So if your O-line gets a little better, we want to see that development/improvement.
Yeah, they still got to improve the offensive line for Caleb, so we'll see what else they do. They still got plenty of time before the draft. Next up, we got my Bengals. Sign Mafe from the Seahawks, Super Bowl champ, 3 years, $60 million. Plays the edge, and then signed, I believe he was PFF's highest graded free agent safety, Brian Cook from the Chiefs, 3 years, $42 million. For me, two great signings, just what we needed. They needed damn near. I mean, it was 100% a need for safety after Geno Stone and the atrocities he committed last season, missing tackles left and right. Jordan Battle can finally, be free to do whatever he wants, so whether that's playing the box more or he can be the guy out back. And Brian Cook's versatile as well. But Mafe is a high floor but also high ceiling guy. Like he only had 2 or 3 sacks last season, but in terms of like pass win rate, like he's up there. He was like top 8 in the league. I think for the past 2 years, just has to finish obviously when he gets to the quarterback. But the Seahawks had a great rotation of edge rushers, so it's not like he played a lot of snaps. So I'll be interested to see if he turns a corner when he's given pretty much the defensive end one playing time. So I think it's two great signings. I would say so far the offseason's been a B plus, but potential to be an A once we hear about this Devin Lloyd signing. He potentially might be on his way to Cincinnati. But Jacob, any thoughts on these two signings?
I thought you nailed it. I thought both signings were good. Both were positions of need, and it's a B plus with potential to go even higher.
I agree.
Lawrence?
Like both of you guys, I think it's B plus A signings. I think that's something we can say. Now, there is something that Jacob said earlier that is lurking in the corner that I guess is your elephant in the room that you probably want to touch on. And is it you think that you're going to go another season with that O-line and not trying to do some major, I wouldn't say major, some much needed in a certain area changes with that edge rush that is coming in your division? It's already been there, but it's 6 games, Markel, that you're just going to get attacked religiously by men that want to dominate your quarterback because he's a pretty boy.
I mean, if we run back the seventh ranked offensive line, I'd be pretty happy.
7th rank when I'm watching.
I think no changes.
I don't know how they rank it, but his sacks, Browning sacks, they're like one of the highest sacks. They're always trying to move out to get the ball out quick because the defense is coming on him quick, and then what happens is Chase is just always available. He's always there, so he's just got that little pass out. It can't always be there. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I hear you, and I liked your little insight here, but I think the seventh or eighth offensive line is good. They're bringing back all the starters, and we got an All Pro in the making, Marius Mims, who is packing up all these defensive ends, minus Miles Garrett because no one's packing him in. So I think we'll be fine. The Browns, we can skip the Browns. They only signed an offensive guard, which is nice. They do need offensive line help. Cowboys, Jalen Thompson. I'm not sure where he played last, but we also touched on Rashawn Gary. They still have George Pickens, who's on the franchise tag. We'll see if they either extend him or keep him on the tag. What do you guys think about the Cowboys so far?
They need to do what the Bears are doing because the safety was nice. He played with Arizona last year, so he was a captain. So that means he was one of their better players. But like we talked about before, they didn't have many players that you could consider good. Got to see what's going on with Pickens. We talked about the Gary trade. Brandon Aubrey, that's also an interesting one because I actually saw, I don't know if it was just like an influencer on whatever, but they were basically saying, like, could you make an argument that Brandon Aubrey is worth a second-round pick? And both guys that were in the discussion both said yes because of his ability to nail 60-plus yarders. I still think a second-round pick's a ton for DJ Moore, let alone a kicker. So curious to how the league feels about that. But like between the two of you guys, what do you think? Would you give a second-round pick for Brandon Aubrey? And you got to pay him?
It's a little rich for me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If I was a really good team with a really bad kicker, I could see myself doing it.
So the Ravens missed the playoffs last year because they didn't have a good kicker.
Mm-hmm.
They already gave up two first, so you want to give up a second as well?
True.
Broncos, a lot of guys. Well, they didn't sign anyone, but they retain a lot of guys. Also, they let go of Greenlaw,
Who's the other one?
so
Was
that's
it
another
Green Bay
starting
that doesn't
caliber
have a good
linebacker
kicker?
out there. Uh, I couldn't tell
I
you.
think Green Bay has a
I
bad
don't
kicker.
know.
Lions signed some offensive linemen. They need to revamp the offensive line, especially. I think they had one guy retire and another guy who they cut. I think they cut their center, right, and then one of their tackles retired.
Something
Could be
like that.
mistaken. We already touched on the Packers. Texans, Blankenship, 3 years, $24 million, almost 25, and then they got Dominique Robinson up to $4 million. So he's gonna be in the rotation in terms of edge players. They already got Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter, so he's gonna be in the rotation. And Blankenship, he did get picked on at points last season on the Eagles. He was the side of the field they picked on, but I still think it's a good pickup for the Texans.
I mean, it's a great
Thoughts,
pickup for the
Lawrence?
Texans. They have the ability to, I would say, kind of nullify his little bit of weaknesses. I mean, Dan, they got one of the best safeties, just like he had at the Eagles. The Eagles obviously found a way to make it work. He's definitely a ball hawk. I wouldn't say he's probably the best, tackling guy, but definitely is a ball hawk. I don't know, any kind of defensive play that the coach makes for the Titans, I don't really question it. I think year after year he's proven that defensively his guys are going to be ready game after game. I still think the only thing that we're questioning on this Texans team is what's the functionality of this offense and how is it going to move. You brought in Joe Mixon not too long ago, didn't work out at all, really, in my opinion. We got David Montgomery. Now you're gonna have to
Let
try to
him
run
go.
it back with an older vet running back. And you got Woody Marks. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd still like to see them just get a savvy wide receiver, draft a nice early round savvy wide receiver, and God forbid that they go get any kind of extreme offensive talent. I get it, they signed Trent Brown. I mean, if he's a really great talent, I don't know that I would say that I'm a casual, but I don't really know Trent Brown too well. And I know that there's a guy getting signed for a 3-year, $37 million, 23 and a half. Ed Ingram getting signed. So the signs are there. We just need to see it get put into paper that they're actually going to be good on the O line for the quarterback to develop.
Jacob, thoughts on Texans?
Yeah, Ed Ingram's the dude that they just traded for Cleveland. I'm pretty sure that trade that was happened like last week, and the Brown came from the Chiefs. I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. I think he led the league in penalties over the last couple of years. So they're getting guys to help the O line, but they're not really getting the best guys. I think the thing that I noticed here was in the retained set. I mean, the signed and retained outside of Trent Brown and Ed Ingram, it's all defensive players. So the Texans, who had probably the second most lethal defense last year, retaining a lot of their dudes makes a lot of sense, but I also think there's a lot that left to be desired in terms of rebuilding that offensive line, potentially finding another weapon outside of Nico Collins. Texans are a weird team, man, because the defense is going to be good, but it's always kind of waiting and seeing how that offense is going to look and how the O-line is going to look specifically.
Yeah, we'll see. The Texans definitely still have some room to make some signings. The Colts, pretty much their big thing was re-signing Alec Pierce. A little pricey for me at 4 years, $116 million. I think he's at, 29.8 average per year, which is, oddly enough, more than what T got last year. So I don't know if this guy is T. Higgins, but definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't pay him that much, but I guess you gotta. If you want talent, you gotta pay up, right? And then they sign Arden Key. I don't know where he's from previously, but 2 years, $20 million. I'm actually shocked because I thought the Colts with Lou Anarumo would be a team that's interested in trade services, Trey Hendrickson, that is. So
Yeah.
maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But Jacob, thoughts on them retaining Alec Pierce and signing this edge guy?
Edge guy K came from the Titans, I'm pretty sure, last year. He was aight. Alec Pierce, I think he's a good player. He's a great deep ball guy. I think his average yards per reception is like 22 or 23. So definitely a deep ball guy. I heard the craziest thing today that in the free agency era, the highest free agency contract was today. 4 years, $116 million. Just like we all expected from the start. Alec Pierce has the most expensive free agency contract for a wide receiver. Alec Pierce. Good player, but yeah, that one kind of that number shocked me a little bit.
Yeah, that was a
hell
big
yeah,
number.
Dick.
Lawrence, did it shock you as well?
I don't know. This lady's trusting you guys to run this team, and I'm not saying he's a bad player, but like you lost Pittman now to make sure you could sign this dude. And one of the reasons why this dude's always open is because Pittman's there. Like, we were gonna act like this man's a bum. By the fact that like Pierce is like as good and as open as he is, because there's not a whole ass threat on the other side of the field. That, and mind you, it is built much bigger and a bigger of a size threat in terms of a pass catcher. I mean that's the problem. They have to double focus Pittman sometimes because if he's in the slot per se, and I got my nickel corner on him, oh, my nickel corner is gonna die on Pittman. I gotta give him backup. Gotta. Oh shit! Now I let Alex Pierce run across the middle, 20 yards deep, wide open, because I was trying to give help to the nickel corner, who was gonna get his cheeks clapped by Pittman. I really, really, really like for them to believe that like it's not gonna move smoothly, as swimmingly as they think it is. I think it might still be a good offense. I think there's just going to be a severe lack when they get to end zone and having threats. Besides a Alec Pierce that's 6'1". I mean, he's nothing jumping off the chart tall, and he's not the most sizable to box you out. I think that's a big loss. I think it is because I know VCU great and all, Mo Alley Cox, but that man does not catch a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, well, they have Tyler Warren, so maybe he can be that end zone threat, the red zone threat. Jags not really doing too much here. They did lose ETN, unfortunately. The Chiefs making a big splash with Kenneth Walker. 3 years, 45 million, 28 million guaranteed. I think it's like 12.5 million per year. Wait, no, is it 14? It's either 12.5 or 14.5 per year, which is pretty pricey for a running back, but he is a Super Bowl MVP. They retained Travis Kelce, no surprise there. And this Tonga guy, I forgot where he was previously, but he's a hybrid fullback defensive tackle. I think I think my readings on this is the Chiefs and everyone else that grabbed the running back today are getting the inklings that the Titans are taking Jeremiah Love, and so that's why they went ahead and snatched up Kenneth Walker. It only makes sense because Jeremiah Love's been linked to the Chiefs ever since he declared for the draft. So I think this is their way of just, hey, we're not going to get this guy, so let's just pay Walker. Jacob, thoughts?
I didn't. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. We talked. I like Kenny Walker, good player. I don't think you can look at that contract as an NFL guy without being recency bias for the Super Bowl. That's an overpay. I saw a list today. It was the highest paid running backs in the league, and I apologize if I get the order wrong, but it was like McCaffrey, Henry, Barkley, Kenny Walker. And it's like Kenny Walker is a good running back, but like we talked about before, he was always good with Charbonnet. He was always like the lead man of a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
You're going to pay him $15 million a year. I think it is 14.5, Markel, with the average per year, but that's a lot for a guy that has been solid his whole career. Am I saying this because it's the Chiefs and I despise them? Probably. I really do like Kenny Walker, but I just think that if they have the idea that they're going to give him 20 snaps a game or 20 carries a game, they're not going to get what they think. I think Kenny Walker worked so well in Seattle because he was kind of like the lightning to Charbonnet's thunder. I mean, you saw in the Super Bowl. I mean, he was so good at being able to bounce out to the outside and take a 3-yard carry into what eventually was an 11-yard carry. And the Chiefs, they definitely need that. They've been searching for a running game since before Mahomes was there. So I definitely think that the signing makes a ton of sense. But I think with the recency bias, they probably overpaid for the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I think so as well. And that's just not me being a Chiefs hater, but I think it was an overpay. Lawrence,
Yeah.
Are you are you in agreement with us, or what
Yes,
are your thoughts?
yes. But at the end of the day, what he's going to provide for him, I don't think it really matters. And didn't Patrick Mahomes restructure his deal to be a little bit more team friendly? I mean, this could be where that money came from.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but once Jacob said it out loud, it really clicked in my head of why they did it. Because one of the biggest complaints I've been saying over the years for Pacheco is the dude just runs up the middle and just tries to pound through it as hard as he can. And there's no real advancedness to his game. And then they also have Hunt that just does the same thing right behind him, but kind of at a little bit better of a clip. So it's just doing the same thing twice over and over again. I think Kenneth Walker is probably is honestly just a great move. It's kind of what Markel said, and they kind of figured, or Jacob said they kind of figured he was going to get traded for, or not traded for. Sorry, Jeremiah Love was going to get taken up before him in the draft. So they had to go get this guy who's going to expand their offense. And mind you, they're re-signing Travis Kelce. Is Travis Kelce doing anything for the offense? No, he's not expanding anything. Travis Kelce will probably play 60% of the snaps next season. He's supposed to be getting, I don't even know if he's still on there, Noah Gray? Well, they're expecting Noah Gray to do a little bit more, but I think Noah Gray is kind of at a ceiling of what he is, but regardless, um, I think this actually expands what the offense can do. I think it's going to give them a lot more run plays to the outside because Pacheco doesn't really run to the outside. Let's be realistic; he does not run outside. I think one thing that's going to be less bet on is Patrick Mahomes' rushing yards. I got Kenneth Walker. You got Kenneth Walker, man. He doesn't have to rush them anymore. He doesn't have to run if he doesn't need to. He can just toss a pitch out to the side. Walker's faster anyways. Man, just give Mahomes the best stuff ever. And he's probably going to end up with Tyreek Hill somehow at the end of the season, which I don't know how good it will be for him, but just the annoyance factor to throw the ball super deep. I don't know. Chiefs always get their way. Piss me off.
You hate to see it. Raiders having a big day here, taking Lindenbaum from the Ravens, making him the highest paid center ever. There you got some other guys, Quay Walker and Kobe Dean, getting some big paydays here. Jalen Naylor, also getting that's a pretty decent check for what he provides, right? Eric Stokes. I forgot where Eric
I thought he was
Stokes
on the
was. He wasn't.
Definitely wasn't. But
He might be the Chargers, yeah.
he was on the
Edge,
Raiders.
grab and pay. So um, Raiders, hey, they had 120 million plus in cap after trading Crosby away to the Ravens. They didn't take any salary back, so they definitely had a lot of needs, even with Crosby, if they had kept him. And this is just putting that money to use. Obviously, you got to overpay to bring people to Las Vegas because they're ass, but hey, at least they're getting better just in time for Mendoza when he gets picked number 1 in April. So, Lawrence, what do you think about the Raiders so far? They still
In
got
my
a long ways to
opinion,
go,
I
though,
think
in
that
my opinion.
in one day they solved up a huge issue on their team, which was like a linebacker situation. They really didn't have any linebackers. They went out there, got Quay Walker, kind of slept on low key on the Packers. In my opinion, I thought he was a really good linebacker. We know Nakobe Dean is pretty decent linebacker. You both signed him for almost the same amount of money. One's got 28 million guaranteed, the other got 20 million guaranteed. One's max is 40 million, the other one's 36 million. So you really put them on the same field. So honestly, I think defensively, small win. Now the score in which Mendoza has to get to is lower, just a little. Small victories. I think another thing that the Naylor signing, I wouldn't say he was a bad wide receiver. I wouldn't say he was a great one, but you know, it allows spice for the quarterback Mendoza because we know he's going to be Mendoza. I think it gives him spice. He's kind of been overlooked on the Vikings. I mean, he did have Jefferson and Addison in front of him. How much more can he get up in the totem pole? Those guys are really, really good.
Jacob, thoughts on the Raiders so far?
Yeah, actually, I think Lawrence said it really, really well. I'll include Taron Johnson because I know for a fact he's a good player. Linderbaum's obviously, I think the record for centers money per year was 18, and Linderbaum's getting 26 million a year. So like, great player. Overpaid probably, but that's fair. Pay is a good player, like you said. Quay Walker's a good player. Kobe Dean is a really good player.
Yep.
Jalen Naylor, when Addison was suspended early this year, he was wide receiver 2 for Minnesota, and he had some good games. So I think this is a kind of a low risk, high reward type of signing for the Raiders. Eric Stokes, also a good player. They probably had to overpay for a couple of these guys, but I think that you go up and down that line, you added like 6, 7 good players to a team that didn't have that many of them. So I like what the Raiders are doing.
Yeah. Sure, they got some more moves planned. We'll see. Chargers signing offensive lineman Charlie Kohler. I think he was on the Titans. Ravens, right?
Yep.
I think he's strictly a blocking tight end though. I don't know
Yep.
I don't think he's a pass catcher at all. But and they also signed Ingold. So the Chargers are doubling up on what they do best. They run the ball, so they're going to get some guys who can go out there and block. So not too shocked here. We'll see what else they do. Rams, of course, they already did their major move, trading for McDuffie, and they give him a big extension. I think he's the highest paid corner in the league right now. So shout out to the Rams. The Dolphins, their big signing so far, they don't have much money, but what money they do have, they spent it on Malik Willis. 3 years,
Crazy.
$67.5 million, $45 million guaranteed. They let Tua go, bring in Malik Willis. He cashes in. And, I wonder how the Dolphins look next season with, $99 million in dead cap. I wonder how they are going to fill out the rest of this team. Any thoughts on the Dolphins, Jacob?
Well, it worked for Denver, I will say. Like we all thought the Russell Wilson thing was, stupid and hilarious. But like, look where Denver is now. So I just think it's crazy. I mean, Malik Willis looked good last year. I think he's a good kid. I think he's a good player. Obviously, he signed in my division, so I have to kind of retain to not liking him. But I will say that they gave this man $67 million, 45 guaranteed for a dude that's only started 6 games in the NFL. I don't know math that well, but that's like 10.7 million per starts he's had in the NFL. So, you know what? That's probably one of those high risk, high reward signings because, like, yeah, if he stinks, that's a horrible contract. But like, if he goes out there and he plays pretty well, then that's a great contract. So, good for Malik Willis. That's a lot of money, and excited to see how it works. I don't think it will personally because the team's not very good, and he has to play Buffalo twice. So we'll see. But I mean, it made sense. There's a lot of Packers connections there with their new GM and their new coach. So they ain't done nothing else, but at least they got a quarterback.
Lawrence, quick thoughts on Malik Willis to the Dolphins.
I don't know, man. I think he's going to be the scapegoat when they're trying to explain what happened to their season, and they're like, what, max 4 wins at the very end? And they're like, no, man, we weren't tanking, I swear. And then they're going to just be like, oh, man, he only had 6 starts. Like, what's coming hasn't even come to the surface yet. And Waddle's going to be there just begging and pleading that can just send me somewhere, anywhere. Like, don't make me go down with the ship, too. I think they got a long road ahead. Long road ahead.
Vikings, not too many moves. Signed James Pierre, 2 years, $8.5 million. Patriots signed Vermont Jones, 3 years, $39.5 million. Signed a fullback, offensive lineman. Patriots do need edge. They probably could use another edge, but Super Bowl runner-ups making some moves here. Probably another big team making some moves with limited money. The Saints signed Noah Fant. Good luck with that. He fumbles a lot. ETN was probably the biggest pickup for the Saints, along with this offensive guard, Dave Edwards. Not sure where he played last, but
Buffalo.
Okay, taking your guards away. I see. How do you feel about ETN leaving Jacksonville? That's a big blow for Jacksonville.
I just have this question, right? Every year the Saints have no money to spend in free agency. They always literally have no money. They always go in there and they're like, oh, any money, please, sir. Any scraps you can give me. And then somehow they're going to come out of here with Travis Etienne. And, like, what? You're going to tell us that, like, we were finally going to have to stop dealing with Kamara year after year, and all you're going to do is sign pretty much a younger version of him. This is some horseshit, honestly, because you guys didn't have any fucking money.
Yeah, that does happen every year. I mean, the Saints are one of those teams that kind of abuse the whole like restructure, push it down the line, and they've been kind of in salary cap hell. But like Gordon said, every year they have no money and they still sign dudes. And you're like, wait, I thought they had no money. Like, aren't they negative against the cap? And they're out here giving out 60 million, 50 million, 14 million. I guess Noah Fant's playing for free. It just says 2 years. I guess he didn't get any money, but it is weird.
Yeah, it's weird. I think you're right, Lawrence. They just get money out of nowhere, seemingly. Giants, the pipeline from Baltimore to the NYC is real, with Isaiah Likely following his former coach to New York. I think along with isn't Stout? Wasn't he the former kicker for the Ravens?
Yep.
And then Tremaine Edmonds, who got cut by the Bears, signs with New York as well. So yeah, some good pickups for the Giants. Still got a lot of work to do there. We already touched on the Jets. Eagles didn't really sign anyone, but they retained Jordan Davis. I think he's the highest paid defensive tackle in NFL history, right?
Until Jalen Carter gets his deal, yeah.
But apparently he's getting shopped. Don't know if you guys have any destinations in mind. Maybe we can touch on that on Wednesday. But apparently he is on the trade block, so we'll see what comes of that. Steelers, they get Pittman from the Colts. And then they give him an extension, 3 years, $59 million. Also signing Rico Dowdle and Jamal Dean. So Steelers definitely need a running back. Dowdle can hopefully fill that gap there. They need a number two. Mike Pittman does that. And I think they can always look to improve their secondary because their secondary, although not as bad as Baltimore, is still pretty, I would say, mid at best.
I really
Lawrence,
like
thoughts on
the
the Steelers'
Pittman for the
moves?
price with DK Metcalf. Um, I also like the Holcomb. I always think he looks good when he comes into games for him. So to have him back is pretty good. Now, I'm going to sound like a fat hater, but ever since he came in the league, I don't think Dean's all that great. I mean, I think he's decent. I think he's like, you can make a pretty good average for a corner. I don't think he's anything that great. I think 3 years, 36 is, about decent for what you're going to get from him. But I don't know, man. Call me the hater, but whenever he played the NFC South, it just always seemed like he got cooked in those matchups against anybody. And to be honest, the Saints are bad, and they still cooked him some multiple games. I would sit there and watch it because it's an NFC South matchup. I don't know. Dean just really had that one good playoff run when Brady basically had every weapon he could have on offense, and Dean was just that above average corner that really rode that wave. But I don't know. I think maybe I don't even know where he fits in for the team for what they already have. I don't know.
It's a good question. Jacob,
I
thoughts
think,
on Steelers?
yeah. The Pittman deal is so bizarre, and I spoke on it a little bit with the DJ Moore stuff. Like, they really didn't give up anything to get a guy that's had a couple 1,000-yard seasons, has been a number one in this league, and then they go sign Rico Dowdle, who's had two really good seasons back to back. And all this time, I'm still thinking, like, who in the hell is going to be taking the snaps? Like, who is going to be the quarterback? Like, are we actually doing the Aaron Rodgers thing again? Are we actually going to give it to Will Howard? They're not drafting Ty Simpson first round, are they? Like, I just want to know with Pittsburgh because it actually seems for the first time in a long time they're building a pretty decent offense because Rico Dowdle has always been a volume runner, and that's why he didn't like Carolina because they gave him volume and he ran for 200 a game, and then they took away his volume and then he got pissed. So, like, he's going to want the ball, and they're going to give him the ball. They got two really good wide receivers on the outside. I'm pretty sure they still have Calvin Austin. So, like, they have a good foundation on offense. They still have Darnell Washington, who's, like, 7'12". So, like, I like what the Pittsburgh has on offense. But, again, like, that almost doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing at quarterback or if what you're doing at quarterback is so lackluster that he can't even, utilize the weapons that you acquire. So, it's a good day for the Steelers. I bet they're happy. Fans are. But again, how can you be happy when you just don't know who's going to be the quarterback?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I think that's the outstanding question that they have, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem to be in the rush to make
I
this
personally
decision.
would
So
say
we shall
they
see
should
what
not
the
even be calling Aaron
Steelers have.
Rodgers at all. Um, I think that with the weapons they have, they don't need someone whose arm looks like it's half gone. Like these guys want the ball high, up and high. An old arm starts getting the ball low.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I agree. I think they should probably move on, but who knows? They brought in big Mike McCarthy. Maybe one last hurrah. 49ers making a big splash, taking Mike Evans away from Tampa. 3 years, up to $60.4 million. And then they sign a veteran tackle in Lowe who might be replacing Trent Williams because he is unhappy with his contract once again. Not a shocker here. We'll see if big Trent Williams is on the move at some point. But Lawrence, Mike Evans, he's in your division. How do you think he'll fit in with 49ers? Because Brandon Ayuk is seemingly out of there, so I guess he'll step into those shoes. Who knows?
Ayuk's out, but I don't think it really matters. I've seen over the years Mike Evans look good with every quarterback he's been with. Quite literally, look good with every quarterback he's been with. And he's played with Jameis Winston before LASIK, the Jameis Winston that just chucked it down there and prayed pretty much. I don't know. I think Mike Evans is going to do just fine with Purdy. I think it really allows their offense to expand in terms of deep threat, a consistent. I would say in terms of this season, a consistent body to catch the ball every time. A lot less strain on McCaffrey. Like, sheesh, I shouldn't see them use McCaffrey 70% of their offense this season. Like, please, for God, don't do that. Let the man have some peace between games. I still think there's more to do in terms of, I would say, getting another tight end in that building besides Kittle, because we're seeing season after season Kittle getting, I wouldn't say on the table, but he's pretty much being put on the table multiple times throughout a season, and there isn't a solid, I would say, number two right behind him. They had that one guy, what was that, Tongans? Tongans? I don't remember. It started with a T. His last name definitely started with a T. Um, but that was like the only one that would ever come in besides Kittle and do anything on the offensive side for the tight end position. Sorry, let me specify.
Jacob, thoughts on Mike Evans?
Yeah, that was the big signing of the day for me. That's the guy I probably wanted the. Didn't work out, but I mean, him leaving Tampa after 12 of the best, seasons for a wide receiver, 11 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. Everybody knows what Mike is at this point. Um, that's going to be a hell of a thing for Brock Purdy, and an even helliver of a thinger for Kyle Shanahan, because you're talking about one of the best guys in terms of scheming up offenses, and you're talking about one of the best guys in terms of getting open. And even if he's not open, that's why I love Mike Evans so much, because he's one of those guys that if he's not open, just throw him the ball anyway, because he's bigger and he's probably stronger and he's probably going to catch it anyway. So basically the exact guy that the Bills needed. DJ Moore's cool, but he's not 6'5", and Mike Evans, which is fine. I really, really wanted Mike Evans, but I thought that it would be kind of a hard sell to get him out of Tampa Bay, Florida, and into Buffalo, New York. So it makes kind of sense that he went from Tampa Bay, Florida to San Francisco, California. Good luck with the taxes over there. But, yeah, it's a good signing for the Niners, man. I'm a little jealous because that was one that I was really interested in.
Seahawks didn't sign anyone but their own free agents, the ones that chose us to stick around and hopefully go for the repeat. But probably most notable is Shaheed staying with the Seahawks after reports were saying he was probably going to leave. So shout out to Seahawks for paying Shaheed. The Bucks lose Mike Evans but gain Kenneth Gainwell. Nice 1-2 punch with Bucky Irvin, and then add this linebacker Alex Anzalone.
Anzalone.
Anzalone, Italian.
We got some more. Titans made a shit ton of signings here. Wandale Robinson, John Funkin Myers. I think overpaid for Myers there, and then a bunch of other positions up and down. How do you feel about the Titans? They definitely have to pay to get talent there, especially this offensive line. I mean, Cam Ward was running for his life. But how do we feel overall with the Titans? They won.
They're going to be half decent. I think that's what I'll say. I think they'll get max 6 wins, but they'll at least look decent. I think the coach really is going to focus on defense, which I don't know if I really agree with, but I really believe that they're going to focus on defense, get that afloat and running with what they have, which let's not forget, like they don't have bums in their secondary too much. Where they got Snead, I mean, he's pretty decent. You could say his tenure so far at the Titans hasn't been very good, but the Titans also haven't been very good either. So, new talent allows him to get a little better. I didn't think the Austin, Schlottman, I didn't think he was that bad of a center. I think you won't have those troubles of last season. We kept seeing handoff troubles with Cam Ward. This might be something that they're trying to focus in on, and we're just gonna nip that whole part in the butt. That's definitely not something our young developing quarterback should have to be dealing with. And then the Wan'Dale Robinson, $78 million, $38 million guaranteed. He broke out last season really, really good. I think it allows him to throw the ball deep. I think it really allows you to move on from Calvin Ridley if you really have to, because we really haven't seen the production you probably want from him.
Jacob, thoughts on Titans?
I'll start at the bottom. Mitch Trubinsky leaving Buffalo for the second time. Looks like he's playing for no money as well, just 2 years with the Titans. Before the day started, John Franklin Myers was one of the guys I kept seeing a lot on my Bills feed for like, oh, if this guy is available at the right price, you should get him. And I saw what the Titans signed him for, and I was like, yeah, that's not the price. Wandell, you touched on it well. I mean, he's a good receiver, and I feel like I've been saying it a lot today, where it's like today was a day where a lot of good players got paid a lot of money. So Titans probably overpaid for him. They need weapons more than anybody, so I get that. Bellinger, also another Giant. I think you're seeing connections here from the Giants for Dayball, and also a little bit of the Jets with their new head coach Robert Saleh. So,
Salah, yeah.
Lawrence, you mentioned it with this might be a defensive team. I think this might be one of those weird situations. Not weird isn't bad, but like a unique situation where if you're Robert Saleh, you say, "Hey, look, Brian Dayball, I got you here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. I'm gonna fix this defense. I need you to fix the offense, and then we're gonna win 6 or 7 games." Cam Ward takes a step. We spend some more money next year. This is a team that you may or may not have to worry about in a couple of years, but it really comes down to how these guys kind of grow, develop, and if they can get better or not. Because that division, it really is wide open. I know that the Jags won 13 games, the Texans won 12 games, and the Colts, were good for half season. But like this division's always wide open for whatever reason. The two Souths in the NFL, NFC and the AFC South, are both just always open. So I'm excited for the Titans. Pretty good day. Got a lot of new guys, new faces.
Yeah, I believe last but not least, the Commanders, who not only re-signed Larry Tunsil after giving him after I guess trading a lot for him actually. They slight overpay and Odafe Owa. Hope I'm saying that right. Tim Settle, decent deal, and they signed Emick Robertson, who they definitely need secondary help. So any signings will help them. But I thought Commanders another team that would be in the market for trade, but decided to go with a little bit of a younger guy. Maybe not as high of a ceiling, but maybe they feel comfortable giving a younger guy more money. How do you feel about the Commanders? They still need a lot of work across the board, offense, defense, but I think they're on the right path. Sorry for you, Jacob.
Yeah, I think what we were talking about earlier about how if they take a wide receiver at 7, that really kind of changes the dynamic of the team. I think it's just an overpay because again, it's a guy that I'd argue half the fans of this league have never heard of. Granted, I've seen his name. We know who that guy is, but like 100 million, 25 million a year, like the market for edge rushers has gotten crazy since last year with the big guys getting over 40 and then Parsons going to 47. Like now you're talking about like a decent, probably like either a B, I'll say B plus to be nice, but like probably a B edge rusher getting $100 million, like 25 a year, to me is absolutely crazy. Tim Settle, former Bill, good player. Does that say 2 or 3 years? Because if that's 2 for 12, I don't like it.
This
If
one
it's 3
says
for
it's
8,
3
it's
years for
good. I can't
24.
tell.
Yeah, 3 for 24.
Okay. I was thinking 12 a year because he's a rotational guy. He's not getting any sacks. He's kind of beefing up. He's a run defender. 8 million. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I was thinking it was 12, and I was like, I don't like that at all. But 8's fine for a guy like Tim Settle. Good locker room guy. And they got Marcus Mariota back, who
I think the
I will still
Commanders
argue is
built
probably the
that
best
way
backup in the league.
because of the tush push. So they try to beef up and make their D line really huge. I think that's what that signing is really for. Because Wise I'm pretty confident is much heavier than you would expect for a defensive end. And I think that was because they always tried to do that run stuff. It's one of those things you got to think about because you have to play the Eagles twice a year, and they're going to run that play on you at least 6 or 7 times a game.
True.
Gotta stop it. Well, that's all we got for the first day of free agency. We have plenty more to go over come later this week. Last but not least, we'll touch quickly on UFC 326. Controversial last fight on the main card here. Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, BMF title fight. We were talking about this offline, but I don't think any of us were fans of this fight at all. So I'll let you guys talk about it.
Fight. It was
Lawrence,
just that,
Jacob.
like, for the title and for what every fight before it has been, it was so boring. It was just dominating. Then I'm pretty sure that's just what total domination looks like. It's just boring.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say. I think the best way I can put it for anybody listening, the UFC fans or not, that one time in your life when there was something coming up on like Saturday and like Monday morning, you're like thinking about it and you're so excited. And then as the week goes on, your excitement just grows. And then, Saturday finally comes and it's like a couple hours before it. And you're just so excited. Like just the emotions are just Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. The second it was announced was a banger. That's one of those guaranteed violence, awesome fights. I was excited all week. And the card on paper was okay. It really just was held by the headliner. This card's decent enough to be like a numbered event, but only because the last fight is just amazing and everybody's gonna love it. So like just going through the whole week, you're just so excited, like the little kid energy, and then you finally get to the event, and then you finally get to the main event, and then like Lauren said, it just sucked. It just sucked the wind out of me. I like Charles. I was rooting for Holloway personally, but I like Charles, and I'm not mad that he won, but like it was so boring. It just was the complete opposite of what you would think a BMF stands for. And yeah, it's upsetting because sometimes if you're thinking about a fight and you're like like this could be a good fight, but this fight could also be really boring, and the fight ends up boring. It's almost like you kind of prepared yourself mentally. But at least for me, like I didn't do any of that this week. I was like, this is going to be one of those fights, kind of like Gaethje Holloway, where they're just going to beat the shit out of each other, and then something crazy might happen. Like I just had that kind of feeling with the BMF that like something big was in the air. I had that kind of taste where I was going to get something amazing, and it was anything but amazing.
Yeah, 100%. Agree with both of you guys. Was underwhelming, and UFC needs to, at the very least, if they're gonna have the BMF title fight, quote unquote, on a card, let's not make it the headline. Let's have it like maybe be the co-main event. I don't think it can be the headliner anymore after
Well, I
what
think
we
the
have
main problem
witnessed this
with
previous
the
Saturday.
title now is the fact that it's in Oliveira's hands. And personally, to this point, Oliveira has developed a chin in recent years. And Oliveira has this amazing ability to be able to fight on the ground. He's probably just going to keep doing it. And there's probably going to be multiple fights now for the BMF that are going to be a little bit more boring.
It depends on who you give them. You're not wrong, but also I think Oliveira did that. I think for mostly one reason. There's probably a lot of reasons, but like the biggest reason he fought the way he did was because he just knew he could do it. Like if basically if the two choices for Oliveira was like stand and bang with arguably the best boxer in the UFC, and like good luck, like take your chance. Like you might get lucky, you might knock him out, or other option, just grab him and lay on him for 22 minutes. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna do what I know will make me win, and like that's fine for most any fight. That's fine because it's the Ultimate Fighting Championship. If you win, you get your show and your win. Like these guys win, they get more money. Like I get it, but this was just because it's BMF. Like I just had the taste of something insane had to happen because that's what always happens with the BMF. And again, like you win a title like that, like Khamzat Chimaev won his title like that, and it sucked and it was boring. But at the end of the day, you're like, bro did that, now he's a champ. I get it. But like for the BMF, it's like almost disrespectful to the sport that he's just like, you know what, I'm going to take the easy route and just, do this easy strategy and win, which I get. But at the same time, like I agree with you, Lawrence. If Charles is going to run the BMF thing, you got to find a better grappler than him, and they both stand, and then maybe something crazy will happen again. But do they even do that? Do they even risk another event like that happening? I definitely think Markel is right, and just put them in the co-main spot or put them as the third down if you have a loaded card. I don't want to see a BMF headline another card, even if it's built to be like no doubt a banger, because I don't get fooled very often. It's been probably a couple years since I've been fooled, but like I was completely wrong with this fight. I definitely thought it was going to be fireworks, and I'm still kind of bitter about it.
Yep. I was having the same level of excitement, Jacob, all week, looking forward to this, and the disappointment was, I'm still feeling it. So hopefully they take our advice, but we'll see what Dana does. But I think we're at time. We'll touch on the NBA and, of course, A10 basketball later in the week with the A10 conference tournament starting up here pretty soon. But yeah, thank you guys for watching episode 223 Silent Brief Podcast, and we will catch you later this week. Peace.